Are you tired of logging into Street Fighter with Marisa every time you go online and you just can't seem to net the wins that you deserve? Well, in this video, we're going to go over 3 likely reasons why you're losing with Marisa in Street Fighter 6. So let's get started. All that being said, if you want to see more educational content like this on the channel, then be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get straight to the first point. One of the most integral aspects of Street Fighter 6 is the neutral game. And I know that from time to time it can be annoying to deal with certain characters in that particular game of neutral. However, it's important that you really stick to your guns and try and figure out a really proper strategy to maintain ground control with Marisa. Otherwise, you run the risk of jumping in too much. And when you excessively jump in this game, you're putting yourself at a very big disadvantage because you are vulnerable the moment that you jump. And as you descend from the jump in, you don't really have much options to choose from outside of the air normals that you have. But once you're back down on the ground, the opponent already has the advantage because they know what you're trying to do, and so they can easily predict and telegraph your next move. So if you're a player who's excessively jumping in, looking for options to perhaps skip neutral, this is something that needs to stop because you're losing for that reason. You're losing because you're just excessively giving away control, you're excessively giving away neutral, which, to be honest with you, Marisa does a pretty decent job. She has pretty good buttons in neutral. She has medium kick, she's got crouching medium kick. She has a lot of good ways to maintain her ground pressure to therefore mix up the enemy in the corner and then, really produce her strong mix-up game. So if you find yourself jumping in too much, take a note of this, stop jumping in, figure out ways to maintain control within the ground using your other tools at your disposal. You have a lot of tools, think of ways to use them properly and safely, and therefore you'll be all right. That being said, let's move on. Now, while Marisa's kit is certainly strong at its core and can be really scary, it's important to understand that too much of something can be really bad. And I've seen excessive use of the Phalanx in neutral far too many times to the point where it just becomes too predictable and enemies are really easily able to perfect parry, block, neutral jump, or even in some cases just completely straight out beat the move just because you're just way too over reliant on one thing to work for you, where you have once again other tools at your disposal to really utilize and therefore advance your pressure. So one of the reasons why you're losing with Marisa is because you're way too dependent on Phalanx and neutral. People can see it coming. It's a very strong move, don't get me wrong, but just because something's strong doesn't mean you should always apply it. It's important to mix up a lot of your tools, therefore prevent the enemy from knowing what it is you're trying to do. If the enemy always sees the same thing constantly, they're going to know exactly how to predict, how to respond, and how to punish you. And now you have little to no options left, because now they're going to think to themselves, well, now that I predicted this move, I'm going to now know what next move they're going to do. So now instead of Phalanx, you're going to use Gladius. But they already know that because you've already excessively used one thing, and so your pattern has been given away. And your pattern is that you're too predictable, you're too over-reliant. So now, whenever you use the next move, they're going to predict that too. So the point is, try to really mix up your approach. Don't rely too heavily on something that worked perhaps in one match. Think of ways to always mix up your strike throw approach with every single opponent you encounter, because not every opponent is going to act the same way, and so you need to be able to act differently as well. So that being said, let's move on to the last and final point, but before that, a word from our partner. Are you an aspiring game designer looking to land a position in the industry creating fighting games and characters? Then look no further than Pixel Helmet, a website dedicated to teaching you hands-on how to utilize the latest software in the industry to help you achieve your goals. In the Unreal Engine 5 Complete Beginner's course, you'll learn how to utilize UE5 from scratch, learning how to do character movement and animations, applying and adjusting textures and materials within the engine, lighting and audio, level design, and much more. The course comes jam-packed with 78 lessons to dive into and a devoted Discord community to provide constructive feedback. By the end of this course, you'll have learned the fundamentals of UE5 by creating a realistic and captivating game-ready environment to dive straight into. If this sounds great to you, then sign up now by clicking the link in the pinned comments. What are you waiting for? This is your opportunity to elevate your game to the next level by enrolling now. Pixel Helmet is the gateway to your dreams becoming a reality. Now, let's get back to the content. One of the scariest things in Street Fighter is the Oki. And Marisa, as a character, is extremely dangerous in Oki because of her strike throw mix-ups, and her drive rush into any particular normal is very, very, very intimidating. But you're losing because you're not following up on that Oki. You're once again being too over-reliant on the same Oki pressure, you're too predictable, and you're not really mixing up your approach to therefore really make the character or make the opponent think, uh-oh, I can't do this, or uh-oh, I can't do that. You're so one-dimensional in your approach that the enemy knows what your Oki follow-up is going to be, and so therefore now they DP you on wake up, or they perfect parry you, or they backdash, knowing that you're going to go for the same pressure string. So this is really where Marissa's tend to fall, is your follow-ups are really poor, and so this is where you have to start improving, because Marisa as a character is extremely potent when it comes to her Oki game. You have a lot of tools, once again, at your disposal that you can utilize effectively, but you have to really, once again, put that into your opponent's mind. Make them have to second guess why they're pressing buttons. And so you need to think of other ways to utilize your Oki game. You don't have to always use your drive rush into crouching medium kick. Why not go drive rush into doing nothing? Why not drive rush into a command grab? Do other things to make the opponent continue guessing what you're trying to do. And then once they have absolutely no clue, then you can start to steamroll them, and then you can start to apply the aggressive pressure that Marisa is known for. But until then, you have to build that momentum. You have to build it slowly, and then once things start to heat up on your end, then you can finish off the game and you can just style on them as much as you want. So all that being said, I do hope that this has given you some advice, some inspiration, some food for thought. Remember, at the end of the day, play patiently, focus on what's going wrong with your game, and analyze, develop new methods, and sure enough, over time, you'll improve as a player and you'll see your ranks go up naturally. So until next time, new warriors, as always, stay strong and keep fighting. Peace.